everybody. Welcome back. We are here for our third Wonder Words small little Facebook Lives here today. My name is Krystal Long. If you haven't caught the replays yet or you haven't been live with us yet, I am an executive board member for Whole Brain Teaching, and I am joined here with Melissa and Kyla, and then we're also going to have Lakedra manning the chat as well. So Melissa, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I am Melissa Ortuño. I am a Platinum Certified Whole Brain Teacher, and I teach transitional kindergarten in California.
All right, Kyla, your turn.
Hey, I'm Kyla Tesmer. I am Gold Certified, and I teach third grade in North Carolina.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, everybody. I'm going to send Kyla into the background. She's going to go man our chat in Facebook. We'll see you in a little bit, Kyla. Bye. All right, Melissa. So you got to catch a little bit of what we did before. Since this is our third installation of this, we are going to kind of zip through the beginning, and then we're going to teach those awesome wonder words on how today for this one. So we're going to be doing the how. Ready for it, girl?
We are ready.
Awesome.
Love my wonder words.
Let's go all the way back. So, excuse me. All right. So here on this slide, Melissa, I like to kind of tell people that we're going to run this show just like we would in our normal classroom. So we're going to use that magic circle to teach everything that it is that we are learning about here today. So let's go ahead and get started. Class, Saroni and cheese.
Yes, Saroni and cheese.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome, Miss Krystal.
Today, mirror words.
Mirror words.
Today.
Our
focus for today
is
what are wonder words?
What are wonder words?
And how can we use them in our classroom?
And how can we use them in our classroom?
What are wonder words?
What are wonder words?
And how can you use them in your classroom?
And how can you use them in your classroom?
Mirrors off.
Mirrors off.
All right, Melissa, teach your camera what our question is for the day. Teach.
Okay, our question today is what are wonder words and how can I use them in this classroom?
Boom chakalaka, class.
Boom chakalaka, yes.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Miss Krystal.
So we're going to answer our question now. This is going to be our second round in that magic circle. And so we started off with the question, and now the second round in the magic circle is to answer said question. Oh, my class.
Oh, my, yes.
Thank you, class.
You're welcome, Miss Krystal.
Mirror words.
Mirror words.
Wonder words.
Wonder words.
Are magnetic visual representations.
Are magnetic visual representations.
Of critical thinking prompts.
Of critical thinking prompts.
To allow students to think deeply about any topic.
To allow students to think deeply about any topic.
Wonder words.
Wonder words.
Visual representations.
Visual representations.
Of critical thinking prompts.
Of critical thinking prompts.
To allow deep thinking about any topic.
To allow deep thinking about any topic.
Mirrors off.
Mirrors off.
All right, teach your camera the question and the answer. Teach.
Okay, our question today is what are wonder words and how can we use them in our classroom? And the answer is wonder words are magnetic visual representations of critical thinking prompts that allow students to think deeply about any topic.
Yeah, girl, you got it. Love it. So we just showed you how you can introduce the questioning technique and the answering technique, which are the first two steps of the teaching cycle or the magic circle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hop over and take a look at what we've already learned so far. So Melissa, are you ready for a quick little review?
Ready for review.
Let's do this. So when we do our who gesture, you're going to point far, far away. Who? Point at people. What? Open up that book. Look in that dictionary for the answer. So who? Point at people. What? Look in that dictionary for the answer. Give those two back to me, Melissa.
Thank you. We have who. We're pointing at those people. Who are you? Who? And for what? We're opening that dictionary. We're finding out what.
Awesome. What and who. Now, where, put your hand over top of your eyes, and you're going to be looking out into the far, far way away. Where are we looking? Yeah, I love it. It's like an explorer, Melissa. That's perfect. And then we have when. When is to point at your watch. So pointing at your watch is when. And why is cause and effect. I hit one hand and it makes the other one go flying. So that is our what gesture, cause and effect. So where, when, and what. Melissa, give
Why?
it back to me. Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
we have
Why? Thank you.
so we have where, we're looking, where are we going? Far, far away. When, we're checking our watch. We're checking our watch. So glad we have Apple Watches now because now they know what a watch is. And why is our cause and effect. So why did my hand move? That's why. Why?
Perfect. Now you'll notice here, Melissa, we also have some locks over top of some stuff here.
Love the locks. What are we opening today?
Oh, exactly. So whenever we are showing something new in our classroom, we want to lock everything up and only show it at one little step at a time. This gives us that maximum gamification for our classroom. So Melissa, why do we lock things up?
We want to lock things up because everybody, you see those locks and you just, whoa, what's happening? So it's that maximum gamification makes this a living video game. What do I have to do to unlock to get to that next thing?
Well, in order to unlock the next part, we've got to master the top part. So we've already mastered, everybody, the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why. And now we're going to be looking at the next part of our wonder words. So we have our how gestures here, and there are 3 different how gestures that we are going to be learning. All right. Oh, my sweet class.
Oh, my sweet yes.
Thank you, class.
You're welcome, Miss Krystal.
Mere words.
Mere words.
We have 3 different how gestures.
We have 3 different how gestures.
3 different how gestures.
3 different how gestures.
Gesture number 1.
Gesture number 1.
How? Count on your fingers.
How? You count them on your fingers.
How? Count on your fingers.
How? Count on your fingers.
These are the steps.
These are the steps.
Something takes to do.
Something takes to do.
How?
How?
Counting on your fingers.
Counting on your fingers.
Mirrors off.
Mirrors off.
Teach your computer what our first how gesture is. Teach.
Okay, our how gesture is about steps. We're going to count out those steps. These are the steps it takes to answer or to do something. How do you do something?
Class, oh class.
Yes, oh yes.
Thank you, Miss Melissa.
You're welcome, Miss Krystal.
Mere words.
Mere words.
The second how.
The second how
is how 2 things are alike.
Is how 2 things are alike.
Hold up your 2 hands.
Hold up your 2 hands.
Where one looks like the other.
Where one looks like the other.
How alike.
How alike.
How similar.
How are they similar?
How are they alike and how are they similar?
How are they alike and how are they similar?
Mirrors off.
Mirrors off.
Teach your camera how with the steps and how alike. Teach.
Okay, so we have our how steps, counting out those steps that it takes. How do we do these steps? And we have the how alike. We're going to have our 2 hands together and wiggle them. How are they similar? How are they alike?
Roller coaster, class.
Roller coaster, yes.
Thank you, class.
You're welcome, Miss Krystal.
Mere words.
Mere words.
How number 3.
How number 3.
Or how are things different?
Or how are things different?
How are things different is number 3.
How are things different is number 3.
Hold up both hands.
Hold up both hands.
One is pointed towards the other hand.
One is pointed toward the other hand.
How similar?
How similar?
The same.
The same.
How different?
How different?
Our position different.
Our position different.
Mirrors off.
Mirrors off.
Teach your camera all 3 of our wonder word how questions. Teach.
Okay, so we have how steps. We're counting the 3 steps of how to do something. We have how alike with our fingers pointing up and wiggling. They are wiggling the same because how are they the same or similar, alike? And then how different. One hand is still pointing up. The other hand is two pointing in toward that hand on perpendicular, and
Class,
they're
oh,
wiggling.
class.
Oh, yes.
All right, everybody give Melissa a 10-finger woo.
Thank you.
That was incredible. All right, Melissa, let's review. Okay, let's go all the way back to the beginning. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do the who. Show everyone the who.
Who? I'm pointing to the people.
Show everyone what.
What? I'm opening that dictionary.
Show me when.
When I am pointing to my watch on
Show
my
me
wrist.
where.
Where I'm looking. Where are you? Far, far away.
Show me why.
Why I'm hitting. That's my cause and effect. One hand hits the other hand.
And now we have how in the steps.
I'm counting out on the 3 steps of something. Counting
How
out
things are alike.
Shaking my fingers or pointing to each other. They're wiggling the same.
And how are things different?
One hand is wiggling, pointing perpendicular to the other.
Yeah, girl, you got it. So, Melissa, once we've taught our students, and let me stop for just a second. I want to make this point. I will take about 5 minutes of the end of class, of a brain break time to teach each one of these to my students. And I'm not going to move on until we've really kind of understood how to ask those questions on each one of our wonder words. So like I said, I take about 5 minutes where we're simply going to be working on the gesture and what we do, what the words are that we put with that gesture. But then we'll build upon that until our students start to become more successful. So first, I'm going to teach those gestures. And then next, I'm going to show them some kind of graphic. And I'm going to use a graphic that's purposeful to whatever those wonder word questions are in the beginning so that I can teach them how they're going to be using those wonder words questions with a specific graphic, making it very explicit on what the expectations are. So Melissa, how am I going to kind of roll this out?
Thank you. So we're going to be first making sure we spend at least 5 minutes just talking about each question. What is the gesture and what kind of question is it? And then we're going to spend some time with a graphic. Here we see a how graphic because we're talking about the how questions. In the previous broadcast, you showed the different ones or the other questions. You want to make sure it's specific to the question we're focusing on. So we're focusing on how questions. So now we're ready for the graphic that focuses on that.
All right, so here, before we even begin anything, I want to tell my students, take a look at this picture, okay? And I want you to just start with some observations. What are things that you observe? What are things that you see? Not asking any questions here. We're simply looking for observations. So in the chat, give me an observation that you have about this graphic. And Melissa, what are some things that you're observing?
I see that there's some words with some labels. We're talking about a butterfly, and I have some arrows pointing about the different parts of that butterfly.
Nice. I see some eggs, and then I see, oh, is that a caterpillar? I love caterpillars. Mm-hmm. Oh, what's this? It kind of looks like something hanging from a branch. That's interesting. Oh, and then a butterfly. I love butterflies. So we're observing what the picture is actually telling us here before we even ask our students to ask those questions. So Melissa, which one of our how questionings do you think this picture goes with?
I'm going to say this probably goes with some steps because these things are not alike, but it looks like it's some steps of something, maybe a life cycle. Depending on how old I am, maybe I know it's a life cycle and maybe I don't.
So ask in the chat, those of you who are out there, what are some how questions that you could ask about the butterfly life cycle? And Melissa, do you have any questions about the butterfly life cycle?
How long does it take to get from the eggs to the caterpillar, to get to the different steps? How long does each step take?
That was a great question. I love that one. So how long does it take to get through the butterfly life cycle? Ooh, Julie. Julie said, how many steps are in the butterfly life cycle? Very nice. All right, so what we're doing is we really want to just help our students in this beginning stage to really just kind of define what those questions are. How long does an adult butterfly live? Oh, that's a good one. I like that one, Mary. Now, the difference between what we can do here is we really want to push our students to be able to think less about the question itself, but more about how that develops our understanding of the lesson. So I like to tell my kids, all questions are good questions. But with wonder words, we really want you to be asking questions that are going to deepen our understanding about a topic. So how do I do that there, Melissa?
So we're going to make sure we're letting them know what our focus is, and that all questions are good questions. There's not a bad question, but we're really looking for that. How can we dive deep? Not a shallow question, but a deep question.
And not only shallow questions and deep questions, but we're also then going to be looking for that improvement on the answers that our students give. So as we had said before, we're going to link all of these into our super improver wall for those stars that students can then earn. So with this, if I have a student who just says, "What is an egg?" Is that a question that's going to lead us to deeper understanding, Melissa?
That's not really a deep question. They probably already know the answer to that. This isn't going to help us learn more about the butterfly's life cycle.
Right. But if I say, "Do you have to have a butterfly in order to lay an egg?" Would that ask a good question?
That's a really interesting question. And that definitely, you're going to have to dive deep to figure out the answer. That's going to be a big answer.
And during these times that our students are asking and answering questions, we can label questions and answers as things that we can learn about right now, questions we can answer right now. And we can also label questions and answers that are going to need to be researched about and learned more throughout. So I also like to play that with my students so that they understand that we can answer some right now, but then other ones are going to be leading questions that we do that deepen our knowledge. So what's another way that I pose this to my students?
So the other way is going to be talking about that there's some questions we can answer right now, and there's some questions that we're going to need to research. So we can label those questions as we're asking them. What can we answer right now? What do we already know the answer to? And what do we need to really research to find the answer to?
Awesome. So here's another one that we can look at. And this time I've created this question, and it goes along with the how alike and how different. So now I'm using literature, two stories that most students already know, probably have some serious schema here. And we're going to ask them to then compare. How are the Goldilocks and the Three Bears and the Three Little Pigs similar? And how are they different? So what are some observations you see just straight away from these pictures, Melissa?
I see similar houses in the pictures. I see three bears in one and three pigs in the other. So 3 and 3.
Nice.
Plus one other character and one other character.
Oh, I wonder if there's some kind of connection there. Now, are there any questions that you can ask about these? Those of you in the audience, give me some questions that you could ask about these two. So what are some how similar and how different questions that we could ask? Go ahead, Melissa. What questions do you have?
How are these characters feeling about how are they looking? And so how are they looking similar? So for example, the animals are wearing clothes in both.
Oh, I like that. That's a great answer. So how are both of the three characters similar? And then you could answer the three characters are similar or alike because they're both wearing clothes. Whoa, that's an awesome one. Do you normally see animals wearing clothes, Melissa?
Only in stories.
So we can probably be able to decide that this is some kind of fiction story based on the animals having those kind of characteristics. So with this one, I'm posing two different things with literature so that I can show you guys how you can use this across many different content areas. And then this last slide, ooh, this one's a little bit different. All right, so let's just start with some observations. Those of you out in Facebook world, drop in the comments, what are some observations you see with these pictures? And Melissa, what kind of observations do you see?
Different people, and I see some labels of maybe what they are or who. So they look kind of similar.
I see a girl and she's reading a book on a hill, and there's some bees around her, and there's some grass. And then I see a boy, and I see the word hat, and I see the word Joe, but under that, I see the word it, and I see the word he. So this makes me wonder, he. What's a word that we can also think about a girl? He.
Would it be she?
Oh, okay. So how are the characters in these pictures similar? Ert? Will you answer that question for me, please, Melissa?
Thank you, Miss Krystal. Oh, they are similar because they both have people in them.
Ooh.
They are similar because they both have some items in them. They are similar because they both have a label under them.
Oh, nice. 10-finger woo. So a question that I could ask here for this is, how are nouns, person, places, and things, similar to pronouns? Ert. So how are they similar?
The nouns and pronouns are similar because they are labeling a person, place, or thing.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, nouns and pronouns are different because nouns are a specific word for a person, place, or thing, but pronouns are words like it and he that do not name the person, place, or thing specifically. All right, so notice how we are using these different graphics to really be able to help our students connect and make those questioning techniques even better. Now, as we said before, we can label things that are shallow questions and deep questions, but as we go on throughout the year and we're really wanting to kind of pull in super improvers, we're going to be asking students to up that rigor or use brainies more, or use things that are going to add to the depth of our answers and our questioning techniques. So Melissa, what do you see here in front of us?
We see the super improver scale with that specific target under it.
Ooh, how is this target different than some of the other targets we've seen before?
This target is different because it talks about wonder words. Sometimes you might have a rule or a specific behavior. This says wonder words. So we're talking about asking great wonder word questions.
Yes. So as the year grows on, we know oh man, those school years are long, aren't they, Melissa? And once we get into those upper levels of the super improver ladder, we know that we have more stars that we're going to need to gift away. So bringing in wonder words with parts of your lessons is going to be a great way for your students to be able to ask and answer those different questions with the lessons that you are teaching. So I had one really good question, or some really good questions on the other lives that we had done today. And one of the questions was about, how do you roll this out in your classroom? How long does it normally take for you to kind of make this start rolling? So Melissa, you teach pre-K. So will you tell me a little bit about how you would have this roll out in your classroom and about the time that it takes?
Thank you, Ms. Krystal. For TK, this is a long process. We're kind of modeling some of the wonder word questions, but they're locked for a while. We're working on some other things, and we spend a long time on the who. At the beginning of the year, talking about who are you and getting to know you is how I roll out who. And then we'll get into what are we learning. So the first couple we're rolled out, but we stay in who and what land for a while, getting to understand what what's a question in the first place versus an answer. So we really use the who and the what to roll that out. And then we slowly roll out the others. Sometimes it goes a little faster. Sometimes we stay in who and what land for a while, but they're getting that wonder words practice to really build them up for or their other experiences in other years.
Absolutely. Can you also talk to me about the color coding behind the signs that you and I had kind of talked about before?
Oh, so thank you. Yeah, we have a color kind of system. It kind of is in an order, and you can notice that there's some special locks on those. How are they alike and how are they different? Because those are those really deep questions. And Coach B really has put the emphasis that those are the part that is the key to unlocking a lot of comparisons and so much. So those are going to be your most challenging ones. That's why they're the last ones that we're talking about in this series today.
Yes, awesome. Thank you for sharing your insight. So, Melissa, I've used Wonder Words in third and fourth grade, and I'm now moving up to seventh grade for
Woo!
middle school math. And so, the way that I would roll this out is as you've rolled out other different strategies in your classroom, you've got your class rules, you have your virtues, whatever it is that you're rolling out. This just becomes one more thing that you can pull in there. So, I'll start with probably the first two unlocked, and we'll learn the who and the what gestures. We'll look at those beautiful pictures and we'll really start to develop what shallow and deep questions and answers are. And we'll stay there for a couple of days. By the end of the week, I've pretty much got all of the gestures taught, but we might only be still questioning the who, the what, the where, the when, and the how. And then as the year progresses and we've gotten really good at shallow and deep questions and answers, then that's when we're going to bring in more of that critical thinking with the how, similar, and different. And teaching reading, it was really easy because I would bring those questioning strategies into the lessons that I was doing. So if I'm teaching character, I might be able to really easily pull out the who questions. If the next week we're talking about setting, I'm going to be pulling out those questions and having them analyze questions that have to do with the where, okay, and even the when. So as it naturally comes in your curriculum, you can be very purposeful about using these questions to help develop those lessons that you have in your classroom already. Oh, I love that. Pam just said that she uses these in her morning meetings and sharings too. That is such a great way to take the academic part out of it, Pam. Love that, and bring in that social emotional aspect too. So we are now really close. Melissa, I told you we were going to go through this a little faster, and guess what? It still didn't happen. So
it's a meaty topic.
It is, and I love it, and I really want everybody to feel like this can be something that can just naturally progress in your classroom. And it doesn't have to be something that you master in those first couple of weeks. It is a long year. Allow these strategies to develop, as the year progresses.
Can I share one tip that it really has helped me? Just printing off the Wonder Word posters and putting them on the side of your board, just similar to how you saw in the graphic that Krystal shared, or where they're on the side. So everything can become a Wonder Word slide. Every topic that you present, even your Go Noodle video, your brain break, can suddenly become an opportunity for them to ask Wonder Words questions.
Absolutely. And if you want to see some examples of that, I know that I have things on Instagram where I printed these out and I put them on the side of my Promethean board. I know other people have taken pictures of it too, but it really is such a great way of not having to adjust your slides, but to just have them there ready to use at any time. Say you've got 5 minutes at the end of the day and you just kind of want to add some excitement to it. So that's what you could use it for. All right,
so
Melissa,
easy to incorporate it.
Do our
ideas in this, brand new ideas in this one. We've been using some of this stuff for years, and Coach has, like, I stopped highlighting because I was highlighting the whole entire pages. It didn't make sense to highlight anymore.
I so am right there with you. Well, our wonderful Kyla is dropping in the different links for the products that are Wonder Words based. There are Wonder Words bookmarks. There are the Wonder Words posters. You can see the different WonderWorks graphics that you can use to roll this out. Some of the graphics that I used in this presentation were actually a part of our Power Picks that we also have available. So those are also going to be found on Teachers Pay Teachers. And the way that I do it, guys, is I actually go in and I search Teachers Pay Teachers official store. That way you can make sure that you are going to be at the actual Whole Brain store. And then I bookmark that as one of my favorite sellers. That way, all I have to do is hit that little bookmark and I know I'm getting everything from Coach's store. Actually, it's everybody's store because we all collaborate to it, but it's his vision, his a beautiful medley of everything.
And one other secret tip, you're in the Super Improver group. If you're watching this, make sure you join your grade level group for grade level tips about how to roll out Wonder Words and for even special lesson things that have Wonder Words just for your grade level. So make sure you're in both of those groups.
Yeah. Oh, love that. Love that. Love that. All right, guys, go ahead and type in your questions. We will stick on here for just a couple more minutes. My Instagram handle, Reen, is long underscore the number 2 underscore teach underscore WBT. So my last name's Long and I long to teach WBT. So there you go. It's a long handle. I should have really rethought that. Sorry. Thanks, Melissa. You've got it. Oh my goodness. I am so corny. I know.
I love it.
Well, if we have some questions, we will definitely push them up here. But then for the rest of you, thank you so much for being a part of our live today. Really appreciate you. Carla asked, are Wonder Words separate from the ELA picks? Yes, they are all separate files. They're very robust files. So in order to download those and have everything all in one place, it would be way too much. So yes, they are all separated.
But on the mega picks, the mega ELA picks and the mega math picks have the Wonder Words already there for you on those 2 power picks. Yes, so they are separate, but they work together.
They were definitely a heart put into making all of those graphics. So those people who did, you guys are amazing. All right, Kyla, have you had any questions that I haven't answered yet that you want to highlight?
I think you hit them all. The biggest one that I noticed was just the when to introduce, and you hit that on. Just kind of go with what you feel. When you're comfortable, start getting them in there.
And even if you only unlock a couple of them, it's just powerful the way that you develop that thinking of the students, not so much a regurgitation of information, which I think is super powerful.
And you can use them in so many ways.
Exactly. Any last minute comments or anything, Melissa, that you want to put out there?
Thank you for this work of the heart. In case you guys don't know, this is all of our staff members, our volunteer staff members, we're teachers, and this really is a work of a heart, just like Coach. It's a work of a heart. Go grab the book. Yes, it's different than the first edition. I still like the first edition too, but I like all the books. But this really is, it's worth it. Like I said, I ran out of highlighters. So make sure you go grab it.
All right, everybody. See you later. Thank you so much for being here with us.